Tim, let's take a look back to March of this year. Listen in as ABC anchor George Stephanopoulos and how he cost his network $16 million.
Donald Trump has been found liable for rape by a jury. Donald Trump has been found liable for defaming the victim of that rape by a jury. It's been affirmed by a judge.
It was not a criminal court case, number one. Number two, I live with shame. And you're asking me a question about my political choices, trying to shame me as a rape victim, and I find it disgusting.
Tim, he proclaimed the Trump rape conviction lie 10 times in that interview. Your reaction to the reckless conduct, the decision against him and ABC?
Yeah, well, first of all, great job from Congresswoman Nancy Mace to recognize what that kind of question was. And going to ultimately the payout from ABC, this is something, one of the boggling things to me is that they stuck by this. When he was interviewed about this later, he said, no, they're just trying to pressure me into compromising my values and my beliefs. I'm not going to do it. He stuck by the dishonesty and the lie. And we have seen that, unfortunately, there's many on the left that have repeated or heard repeated lies long enough that they begin to believe some of them that are not factually true. And ultimately, there's a lot of political partisan motivation in what's going on. And we've seen that a lot from media reporting. And this is just one of those incidents where now there's a $15 million price tag, as well as the $1 million in attorney fees, so $16 million total in this whole ordeal. And it could be something that other media outlets look at and learn from. But the reality is this is just part of the political polarization that's going on and why there's such a high and heavy distrust of some of the major media networks, which is why people like me love being a part of Victory News, because it's somewhere that's actually going to be truthful and honest about what happens. And, of course, doing it in the spirit of faith.
Well, thank you, Tim, for that. As New Jersey drone sightings, they keep continuing. I want you to listen to air traffic controllers at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio. They issued an urgent warning to military aircraft over an unauthorized drone activity. Here it is.
Med Flight 8 Patterson Tower, use extreme caution for heavy UAS movement on the base. Security forces is handling the situation. Suggest at or above 1700 AGL.
So the airbase had to temporarily close. Now listen to Senator Chuck Schumer when he held a press conference over drone sightings in New York.
Our local people who have questions about these drones should not have to shake an 8-ball to get an answer. They want real answers, and the Robin can supply those answers, and that's why we want them here.
Schumer's asking for the Robin tracking system that operates like a net over an area rather than line of sight at a flying object. Since the DHS and the Pentagon have no idea, is this the answer to finding out what's going on in our U.S. airspace?
Well, it certainly could help, but I would say big picture, this is one of many examples of why we have a different administration coming in January. This kind of incompetence is why people don't trust the Biden administration and why they shouldn't, frankly, because if we asked a basic question, just as a contrast, would we be wondering about these drones under President Trump? The answer, of course, is no, because if you go back to earlier in Biden administration where there was this hot air balloon that's flying over the North American continent, and we don't know about it for weeks, and they're not sure what they can do and how they're going to handle it. That wouldn't have happened under President Trump. This kind of stuff, we don't have the belief it would happen under President Trump because we know he would work to get to the bottom of this, and the Biden administration has not. Certainly, we need leaders that care enough to know who is doing this, what's going on. Are these bad players? Is this something from Iran or some force that wants to do us harm? This is what the government should be working on to find the answer to.
All right, we got less than 30 seconds here. RFK Jr. is on Capitol Hill 4 days this week, meeting with Republican senators to answer questions about Secretary of Health and Human Services nomination. He stated he will not stand in the way of fully tested vaccines or Republican actions to protect unborn children. Your thoughts on RFK being on Capitol Hill?
Well, I think the life issue is one of the important things that Christians have to consider. We've talked to several senators just in the last couple of weeks, and this is one of their big questions and holdups with him. And if he will not prevent the pro-life effort from going forward, he will probably get the Republican support he needs to actually get that position.